I'm getting right to cooking this morning, and I'm choosing to eat my dessert first, and I'm not mad about it at all. Self-taught pastry chef Justin Burke credits his first queer potluck with changing his life, and now a potluck pro. He's the author of the just-released Potluck Desserts, joyful recipes to share with pride, and he's here in the kitchen. Hello.
Hello, Kelly. How are you?
Oh my gosh, I'm so good now because I have the world's biggest sweet tooth. So,
okay. Well,
you know, some people might be upset that they're having this for breakfast, lunch, but not me.
Well, this is definitely going to satisfy the sweet tooth.
Yay. Okay, what are we making? What is this cake called?
All right. So we're going to make not safe for work cake. Some people might know it as better than sex cake.
Oh.
But as an 8-year-old, when I was introduced to that, I was traumatized as a child. And so I renamed it so no other child would go through what I went through.
Well, thank you for that. Okay.
So right now we have, I made the cake, and this is just a dark chocolate cake. Instead of using like hot water or hot milk to give it moisture, I used freshly brewed hot coffee.
Interesting.
So that's going to wake up the chocolate and just make it very prominent. And it's also going to help with the leavening agents like baking powder, baking soda, because coffee is naturally acidic. That's going to chemically do its science thing and then give it oomph.
Well, it's going to give me an oomph for sure.
Yes.
Okay.
So while I am caramelizing, and I'll talk about this in a minute, if you want to take the back of this wooden spoon and poke 75 holes through there.
75 holes.
Because we're going to pour this caramelized sweetened condensed milk over it because it's a poke cake.
Okay, and you could use you have like a couple options
so
here, but you like this one.
Back of the wooden spoon, you can use wooden dowels, chopsticks, whatever you have will work.
And you're going all the way down,
all
right?
The way
I guess
down.
I didn't fully ask that. I just started poking.
No, that's great. No, it's perfect. So while you're doing that, I am going to work on the caramel that we're going to drizzle over this. So we're going to put 1 can of sweetened condensed milk over low heat. This is going to take about 15 minutes. You just want to continuously stir it because it's going to caramelize it. The fat solids in there are going to start turning like a golden brown. It's going to reduce and thicken.
How do you make sure you don't burn that then? Just the stirring?
Keep
is that
stirring.
okay?
Keep stirring, low and slow.
Low and
then
you got to be patient with that.
And then we're going to pour the other can of sweetened condensed milk in there.
Yum. I had a few, little mishaps.
That's fine.
Is that normal?
That's totally normal.
But I feel like I could just eat that and taste it.
It's a moist cake. It's going to stick. And yeah, like you just said, you have snacks.
Yum. While you're cooking.
Yeah, then we're going to add butter, and this is just going to help keep everything together, emulsify, and you're going to stir that.
Ooh.
And then I'm going to turn this off so we don't burn it.
Again, low and slow. And why did you want to make a desserts-only cookbook?
That's a great question. So I'm a self-taught pastry chef. It was a complete career change for me when I was 30.
Wow.
I was in peace building for nonprofits, and I had always wanted to be a pastry chef. And being a peace builder is very emotional. So I walked into a restaurant and said, I want to be a pastry chef, start me anywhere. So I taught myself with cookbooks, and I just learned. I absorbed everything. And Potluck Desserts, it's my first cookbook. And, my first queer potluck is when I moved away from home and I met my chosen family. And it was when I was starting to understand who I was and explore. So it was kismet to bring all that together. And the recipes are very homey. I mean, these are the recipes that I taught myself that became a pastry chef. So hopefully there are more than one book. So we're just going to pour this over.
Okay. So you think this is just the start then?
This is just the start. So if you want to pour that over.
Okay, yes. Put me to work. And what's over there?
So
that looks like whipped cream.
It is whipped cream, but it's unsweetened whipped cream.
Oh.
If I can get it out. Okay. Well,
and why did you want to go with the unsweetened?
So everything in here is so sugary, so you don't want to have a sugar shock. So unsweetened whipped cream is going to mellow everything out. So
oh my gosh, the smell here is just like, it's like caramel, chocolate, butter. I'm getting all the senses.
So once you spread that all out, you're gonna put that in the refrigerator to sit overnight, at least 1 hour if you're impatient.
Okay, but the best result
best
would be
is overnight.
if
Yeah,
you
for
can.
sure.
Okay.
And then you're gonna chop up some toffee candy bars.
Oh, wow.
And then once it's cool, you're gonna sprinkle that all over it and then serve.
Oh my
at
goodness.
your next potluck.
I was gonna say this would really wow people at the next potluck I go to for sure.
And then you just sprinkle however you want. I like to do around the edges.
Ooh.
And then we have a piece for you to
I
try.
know, and you want to make sure that I'm hitting the caramel in there.
Yeah, you want to get all the pieces.
Yes. What other dishes are you absolutely loving in your cookbook while I'm tasting this? I cannot wait.
Yeah, so I'm a big fan of my chocolate cherry soda cake.
Oh, what?
So it's very retro. We use maraschino cherries. We use the maraschino cherry liquid to make the buttercream, so it's like super pink. How is it? Good?
This is so good. This is
Awesome.
Absolutely fantastic.
Thank you.
Sorry, keep going. Yeah, my eyes, I was like, what is happening?
You're like, this is the only recipe. No, so that one and the butterscotch oatmeal cookie bars. So I put molasses in it, and it's just this dark caramelized. I love more savory part of desserts, so it's gonna have that like dark caramelization, more of the earthy warm notes, instead of like traditional cookies that are just like sugar and chocolate.
Yeah.
And then my all-time favorite is, which kind of inspired the recipes for the book, it's called Shirley's Cake. It was from one of my grandmother's best friends. She would always come down from Oregon, and she'd make this cake. It's a mandarin orange cake with a pineapple frosting, and it's just makes me happy every time I have it.
These are all, they sound like mouth-watering. This cake, I'm just gonna keep eating this cake while we're chatting. It's so good. It's so light and decadent, but like you said, the whipped cream really helps like just balance out the whole flavor profile. Delicious.
Glad you like it.
You were talking to earlier about your first potluck, and when I think about potlucks, I think about gathering and community. And so is that really what you were looking for when you moved? Can you just kind of speak to why you love potluck so much?
Yeah, I think when I moved out of my hometown, you know, I grew up in a very conservative town, and so I didn't really understand who I was. I knew there was something different about me, and I didn't align with the folks I grew up with. And so when I moved out on my own, I started meeting new people. And that first potluck, I met so many different people, and they were so welcoming, and they didn't judge. They allowed me to take my time. You know, I was 18, and really, they just nurtured and fostered that self-awareness and exploration. And everywhere I moved, I mean, I lived in Boston for 13 years, and I established a huge chosen family. I mean, we rarely went home for the holidays, and our holidays were together. So I think it's really important because a lot of, in the queer community, that's where we keep our history. It's in the food and that legacy of exchanging. Like if you had this, you're like, this is amazing.
It
Who
is.
made it?
It's
I want the
amazing.
recipe. And then I would tell you my narrative of like, oh, this is the story behind it. And now you know Justin, and you go on to your next potluck and you make it, and then you add yourself to that story. So it just builds on, and I think that's the most beautiful thing about queer potlucks in general, but in the queer community, it's very delicate and special to us.
Well, this is so special to me to meet you
Great.
and to taste your amazing dessert. Thank you so much for being here today.
Yeah, thank you.
And Justin will be sharing his desserts and chatting with everyone at the Seattle Baking Club on Saturday afternoon, June 14th. The event will be at Stoop Brewing on Capitol Hill from 3 to 5, and details will be on our website.
New Day Northwest Kitchen is brought to you by Safeway.